Nigeria already has a lot of problems. We do not need a serial killer to add to our problems. Do you understand? Like, I just can't deal with this. But Nigeria has had a serial killer, which is the worst that Nigeria has ever had, to the extent that he was jumping from state to state within Nigeria. And today we are going to be talking about none other than David West. So David West had a very rough childhood. He was a son of a polygamous family, and his family, that is him and his mom, did not live with the dad. His mom was poisoned, so he was eventually left to fend for himself in the world and whatnot. So growing up, he basically became a very free person. Like, he had nobody to tell him what to do, what not to do. He was just basically living life as it goes, making bad decisions and whatnot. And up until the age of like 23, 24, he joined a group called the Greenlanders in Port Harcourt, which was basically known for notorious crimes. And they were like a segment that moved out of the militant group, and they usually practice things like voodoo. They would hijack things from people on the road, like maybe traffic, and they just got into a lot of messy and violent actions. So David West started meeting up with women he would see maybe on the side of the street near a bar, and he would sleep with them and pay them a small amount of money or whatever that they agreed upon. He would tell them that he wanted to just have a companion. He would dress like he's rich, and sleep with these women. And just the first set didn't really have any problem with this, because he didn't even think of what I'm about to say that he's going to be doing. So on a particular morning in Port Harcourt, in hotels, cleaners come in the morning to open the doors and air out the hotel room, sweep, change the bed sheets, and what they're supposed to do. So when the cleaners entered, they saw a woman face down with her hand tied behind her back, and her legs were also tied. And they got closer to her, and then they realized that she was dead. The hotel called the police. They came to investigate, and they just came up with the conclusion that this person did not work alone, because the person could have the person run out of the hotel, just coming up with different assumptions. But 3 days later, there was another call from another hotel saying that there was a woman that died. And when the police got there, they saw that it was the exact same thing that happened in the hotel that they were at 3 days ago. So this is how they knew that they were dealing with a spree killer, a killer on the loose. And now they were trying to make sure that this does not happen again. So they began investigating and trying to find out who this person could be. But the only information that they had was that these two women that were killed were both sex workers. So which gave the police a clue that this could just be a man that is obviously just sleeping with sex workers only. So which means that most of the crimes would most likely be committed in a hotel. 3 days later, a third woman was seen in another hotel in the same situation that the others, two women that were killed, were. Head face down and hands tied, legs tied from pillowcase cover rippings, and tied their hands, and they were also slashed. Their necks were slashed, and it was just the same thing that the police kept seeing. So now it was now a whole thing in Port Harcourt, where salons, bus drivers, everybody was talking about this particular person, and he was now termed the Port Harcourt Strangler. So after this third case, the police became more wary about this person that was doing this, and also started closing down hotels, and also trying to also make hotels know that they are now supposed to be more security conscious, because there was a killer on the loose, and that they should start installing CCTV cameras, trying to find out the identity of people that check in, just trying to be more cautious. And then the people of Port Harcourt became very, very angry. There were rallies, there were a lot of things against the police at this time, from social media to rallies and posters going up on the streets, and especially women. They were very angry that this was happening, because they believed that the police was not doing their job and was not doing it as effectively because of the fact that the women that were being killed were sex workers. So they felt like the police did not care enough about these women. But between September 13th and September 16th, there were more killings. 3 more women were found in different hotel rooms across Port Harcourt. On the 18th of September 2019, David West checked into a particular hotel in Port Harcourt, and unfortunately for him, this was basically going to be the last time that he ever did this. So everything was going on, you know, in the hotel, and then the owner of the hotel, the manager rather, heard a scream, but he wasn't too sure because it also came with, like, you know, a very loud TV noise. There was a particular room that was playing like music really loudly, like obviously probably from the TV, but he knew that the noise that he heard was not from the TV because it was not even aligning. And at the same time that he heard the scream, the TV was also on. So he took the master key from the desk at the reception and he ran straight following the noise, because the hotel was not that big, so he could kind of guess, and it was not filled up with like lots of people, so he could kind of guess which rooms had people and which ones didn't. He knew, obviously he was the manager. So by the time he got to the door, he used the master key to open it. He didn't see anyone in the room, so he wanted to go out, but he just decided to check the bathroom. And then right as he turned to look at the bathroom, he heard the door shaking, and he saw the door shaking. So he went there and opened the bathroom with force because it was kind of locked at first. And then he just opened it, and then he saw David standing by the window about to jump out of the hotel room window. And he was confused. Looking at the other side of the bathroom, he saw the girl on the floor, the person that he heard scream. And when David saw him, he was just in shock. He didn't expect anyone to come to see what was happening. He was also wondering how he even entered into the door, forgetting, or probably does not even know that it's the manager. So immediately he saw them together, like he saw that the man was checking up on the girl that he was basically about to kill. He just ran out of the hotel, dashed out and ran out. I mean, and before the manager or anybody, the security was not really that tight in that particular hotel, because it was just basically like a cheap hotel room, and he was nowhere to be found. And thankfully enough, there was a CCTV recording of this, because this particular hotel also got the whiff of what was happening in the environment in Port Harcourt, especially hotel rooms, and or got you know, the whole security cautious advices on checking the names of the people and installing a CCTV camera, especially the fact that, you know, they were around the area where these hotel rooms that were being closed down were. So the manager called the police, and then, you know, they asked her some questions inside that hotel room, and she explained that she had never met the man before, that the man just promised her that he was going to give her money for spending the night. And just like before she slept, she just decided to like stretch her hands on the bed, and then she felt a knife under the pillow, and she didn't say a word. So she just went to the bathroom and, you know, told him that she wanted to ease herself, and he was like, okay, yeah, sure, fine. And she went to the bathroom, locked the door, opened the windows, and then began screaming. And in the process of screaming, he heard her screaming and, you know, was forcing himself into the room, into the bathroom, and, you know, trying to get in. And then he eventually opened it and, you know, trying to kill her. So she was still screaming and fighting him off, but he saw that things weren't happening like how he wanted to, or how he planned. So he planned to escape through that window. And that was when the hotel manager came in and caught him. So she was very lucky, and she saved herself from being a victim to David Thomas. And she was basically the first victim to evade this whole rubbish that he was doing. The next step that the police took was to ask the people of Port Harcourt to be very wary of this man, because he might still continue what he was doing. And then they also tried to check the name that he used to sign into the hotel, and they checked the name, and he used his actual exact name, which is very weird, because usually people that want to go on a killing spree or have like a history of, like, doing that. They usually don't use their real name, and this man actually used his real name. So thankfully, he was basically making it easier for the police. So they go check the records of, Port Harcourt and, try to find out who he is, social media, different things, where he could have worked or something that would basically link them to him. And they basically found him. They found his picture, they found what he looked like, where he grew up, his family, and, they just basically started being on the hunt for him. So they also tried to go look at records of different hotels, and they saw that he actually checked into some hotels also around the area, but the girls that he went with on some particular days actually survived. Like, there was no fights, no nothing, and some others resulted in death, some resulted in theft. Not all of them resulted in death, and it was just unfortunate that the 9 girls that out of the multitudes that he had slept with, paid money to slept, ended up dying. So the Port Harcourt police decided to have routine checks and also close all exits within Port Harcourt. And this helped a lot because now there was basically no coming in and not going out of Port Harcourt. But on the day that they exited that room, not everybody in Port Harcourt knew. So the buses that were going out of Port Harcourt or coming into Port Harcourt were being told that they had to turn back. But before they did that, they were checking the buses. So on one of the outgoing buses that were leaving Port Harcourt that particular day, with the bus driver obviously not knowing that it was no longer allowed, because there were now police at every outgoing checkpoint and incoming checkpoint, and they searched this particular bus and they found David inside one of these buses at the back, still wearing the same clothes that he used the previous day to exit that particular hotel that he saw on the CCTV camera. They brought him down from the bus and arrested him and took him to the police station, and he confessed to everything that he had done. And it was very obvious that he was only going after vulnerable women from the story that and his confession that he told the police. He also told the police that he was homeless, and that was why he was moving from hotel to hotel. And thankfully, actually, because if he was not homeless, like, he basically would have gotten with this a lot. Because I cannot imagine, the only reason why they could catch him was because he was a hotel room. Imagine he could take these women into his actual home or rooms. They probably would have not caught him for a long time. And it's just that he also wanted to be changing his clothes. Like, he had very few clothes, so he was like, when he pays for the hotel, apart from eating sometimes, he will also be able to have the hotel cleaners wash his clothes and everything. So, like, it was just basically a very, very sad thing to look at. Is like, how did you even get this money that you're using to pay these girls? Probably from the stealing that he will also do on the side, most likely. But after he was caught and confessed this in the police station, he was paraded around all of Port Harcourt City, and he was just confessing to his crimes while he was being handcuffed. The police made sure that they embarrassed him and showed his face to the entire world so that no other person could fall victim. Obviously, most likely not to him again, but to warn any other person that is doing this or even thinks of doing this in the city or anywhere around the world, especially Nigeria.
How do you get this girl in the hotel, and how do you kill them? Because we have seen similar things. Tell us, how do you do the killing?
I buy a knife from this house, kitchen knife.
Kitchen knife?
Yes, sir. After making love, we sleep for some time. So after sleeping, and that's some time, the girl, I'll wake the girl up. But to be unknown to her, when I now use the knife.
Then after that one, you told us that you used to ask her about the PIN number of her ATM.
Yes.
How many girls within Port Harcourt you have killed? How many?
5. I know the hotels.
You know all the hotels you killed?
Yes. Then I did one in Lagos and one in
Owerri and Lagos. Which one you did first? Is it the one in Lagos or the one in Port Harcourt or the one in Owerri? When did you start killing girls?
Lagos, it was Lagos. That was where I had money from. The girl had some money that I can 82,000 naira. So that was the money I traveled down to Port Harcourt before I went to Owerri. It was after Owerri I came to Port Harcourt.
So 5 girls in Port Harcourt, one in Lagos, one in Owerri, and he's basically being caught right now. So he basically may not even be able to remember all of the girls that he had even had, or maybe the ones that even escaped. Like, it's just very weird and sad to think about that he was basically just doing this across other cities too.
We were inside the club. After that, she discussed of how much I would pay her. So after that, we left the club to the hotel.
What is the name of the hotel? Can you remember the name of the hotel?
Back the hotel. It's at Rumokoro, that's South Sudan.
Okay, South Rumokoro.
No, Rupoko.
Rupoko, okay. Yes, so what happened when you go
So
there?
after that, we went to the hotel.
Yes.
I paid for the place. So they took her to the hall. So after they took her, I said, okay, let me look for you to arrange for the food. And she will eat myself. So they prepared food and we ate. So after that, we slept till when the day broke by around that 5:30. Yes, 5:30 to let's say 4 or 5:30. So I brought out a knife. She didn't actually know that there was a knife there. So I brought out a knife. That person had a let her don't shout. Then she shouted, I will use the knife on her. So without fear, she couldn't shout. And by then the television, the volume was
Loud.
Yes, loud. So she kept quiet, and after that, I used the wrapper to tie her heads from the back, then tie her legs.
Which wrapper?
And everything would just come to a total number of 15 women. After a while, David pleaded not guilty to all the attempted murder cases, and he basically just also started becoming very angry. The police got a lot of information that he was actually a very aggressive man, even while growing up, like just very dirty little details about him that nobody even should care about, because all that should be cared about is that he's a very bad person and he's a murderer and he should be dealt with. On October 9th of 2020, after 1 year of his court case, he was charged with 9 counts of murder and 1 attempted murder. That is the last victim that narrowly escaped him. And he basically was also crying in the courts. I mean, in the prison ward, also, like the police said that he was sorry, and sorry is not going to cut it. Sorry to say, like, sorry is definitely not going to cut it. Sorry, okay, you stole, yeah, fine. But when another life is involved, you should not even say you're sorry. Like, really, like, it just makes it even more annoying to listen to. And he got the sentence to death. The worst part about this is that, like, during the whole court hearing and everything, not even one person out of all the victims' families came to pick up the bodies from the mortuary or from the hospitals. They were just left there to basically rot. And even during the court hearing, it was only one of the victims' families that came. And after he came for the first day, he was never to be seen again. So the bodies basically were just left for the Port Harcourt government to handle, and they eventually buried them not too long after the whole court case and everything. And Port Harcourt has not given a hanging death sentence since 2016, and it is basically 2023 now, and David is not yet dead. So obviously, which means they've not yet killed him like the Port Harcourt government sentenced him to. So I really do not know what is going on and why he isn't dead yet. I don't know. Some people say that he has escaped. Some people say that he paid his way out, but I still 100% believe that he's just locked up somewhere in prison, because that is not someone that should even be let out at all. And 9 of his victims died, even though there were 15 of them that are known. We don't even know the ones that were before him or the ones that we missed, because he had been in different places. So the names of the victims are Maureen Ewuru, Jennifer Nwokocha, Linda Wanya, Dorcas Francis, Blessing Effiong, Rose Samuel, Kelechi Onoha, Patience Hamo, Anthony Ibe, and that is the end. So like it's basically a very, very sad case. And the thing is, like, I also believe, like the other people, that they did not take this case seriously because of this stigmatization towards sex workers, especially in the country. You know, they are also human beings too. You know, they're just doing what they can to live by. I mean, it's better than stealing or committing murder for money, just like David did. And I feel like if it was someone of not that class, the police could have taken it more seriously since the first or second killings, you know, and they saw these people in the hotel rooms and they did not take it seriously until it was like the fifth, sixth, seventh killing. So basically, my heart goes out to the families of these people, and I hope their souls rest in perfect peace and that David is brought to justice. Thank you guys for listening into the end. I hope you guys loved and enjoyed it. Don't forget to give a thumbs up, and I'll be seeing you in my next video.